Good morning, Coach Andy here. Just trying out this live thing. Got the TrainingPeaks. I really like it. I think most of you like it, but we are having some growing pains. I know I'm harping on this, but everyone is really freaking out about rated perceived exertion. It's just your gut, your feelings. It's not a watch. It's not a Garmin. It's not a heart rate. It's just, how do you feel? And I was talking to one of our athletes today, and it's not, everyone's is different. My rate of perceived exertion is different than your rate of perceived exertion, but just use your scale. So on easy days, you're just going out there and just taking it easy, talking like I am full, having a full conversation or whatnot. On a harder day, say you're doing 2 times 10 minutes or 3 times 10 minutes, you're going to be pushing a little harder. So the exertion level might be at a 7 or an 8. I do this Nike training program that asks me every time after I'm done with a workout what my perceived exertion was. And I usually throw down a 7 because I'm not dogging it and I'm not taking it easy. And every once in a while I put down an 8, but very rarely. And sometimes 9 or 10, especially if they're making me do a total test. So anyways, just you gotta, don't worry about the perceived exertion. As I said in the other video, I don't think any of you guys are dogging your hard workouts. If it's a 30-minute tempo run, steady state run, you know what that is. It's like, what you can do for, a 10K or a half marathon pace. Don't get too messed up with the numbers. Like if it, unfortunately TrainingPeaks says it'll list it as a 6 or an 8. Your 6 or 8 might be totally different than their 6 or 8. Yeah, I could go in and change it for every single person, but you just got to come up with your own, because I just don't even know how I could do it. It's kind of like with heart rate. Everybody has a different max heart rate, so I can't do that. But obviously, I don't know how you perceive things. Perfect example of perception is when I first started run camp 9 years ago in August. I used to do boot camps. My friends had boot camps, and that's how I kind of got the idea of doing a run camp. And this hat keeps falling off. And at the end of boot camp, you'd have a mile run. Now, a lot of my runners could just kill me in 5Ks, 10Ks by minutes and minutes, but I would beat them in the mile run. And what it turned out was, it's because I've been running since I was 12, 13 years old competitively, and I just knew my perceived exertion, I just knew there's whole other levels of pain. And until you start running off and you don't realize that. So I knew, so I had one lady who could beat me by 4 or 5 minutes in a 5K, and then in a mile I ran under 7 and she couldn't break 8, and it drove her nuts. And I was like, well, honey, it's just, I know I can push myself further, and it's something you just have to learn. You have to learn how hard you push. So if you're a fairly new runner, your perceived exertion, you might think, oh my gosh, this is killing me. And another person would be like, oh, you're barely even moving. You're still being. I remember I've had runs where I'm like helping somebody and they'll be saying, oh, I'm dying, Andy, I'm killing me, you're killing me. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And they'll go, yes, you are. And I'll say, you're still talking. If you can talk, I'm not killing you. So everybody has a different perception of pain, and it's obvious the truth. The Courtney DeWalter, who is crushing 100-mile races, 200-mile races. I mean, I've watched her run 9-minute miles for 24 hours, 155 miles. Obviously, her perceived exertion is way beyond mine or yours. So, like I said, do your workouts. You can keep asking the questions, and I'm fine with answering them, but just remember that it's your perceived exertion. And just, easy days, go really easy. Hard days, go really hard. And you can just kind of fall into that place. Obviously, if you got 3 times 15 minutes and you can't even finish the first 15, you got to dial it back. We want them all with steady effort, and I'd much rather have you finish end out your workout as your fastest one. In fact, I do that all the time, and the Kenyans do that. I've read about them. Even on an easy run, some days if they're feeling good, last 10 minutes, last mile, they might air it out. It's because that day they just feel good. So anyways, just thought I'd come back and talk to you about this. I know some of you are like, oh my gosh, but I keep getting people really obsessed with their pace and their exertion and not hitting paces. And it's like, if you're not hitting the pace, that's fine. Conditions change. It's just more about your perceived exertion. Heart rate monitors are good in a way, because I had someone write me today saying, oh yeah, my heart rate just wouldn't go down. in between the intervals, and so I had to walk more. That's good too. So it's kind of a combination. Use the tools, but also learn your body and learn what you can do. Like I said, I don't fear that any of you guys are truly slacking, and when it comes to running hard. In fact, most people go too hard too often. And that's what I like using a heart rate monitor, is to slow you down. That whole 180 minus your heart rate kind of thing. Get you to do your easy runs the way you're supposed to. So anyways, sorry for this silly hat. Just trying to something different. And it's hump day. Just keep putting in your daily miles. That's what's more important, is consistency, not epicness.